Around 3 billion years ago, a bioenergetic process that changed the surface of our planet was born. At a certain depth, the subsoil works as a natural oven, where temperature and pressure are considerable. This process, commonly called photosynthesis, had as its main energy source the solar radiations and as a carbon source the CO2 available in great quantities at that time within an atmosphere lacking oxygen. This transformation of luminous energy into chemical energy took place through the aquatic microorganisms, which acted as reducers, producing on the one hand oxygen and on the other hand organic carbon molecules, which settled at the bottom of the oceans and landlocked seas and ended up as a thick layer of kerogen, an intermediary which is common to all fossil fuels. This kerogen progressively infiltrated in the Earth's crust and at a certain depth was subjected to a thermal cracking, which turned it into hydrocarbons. Later those hydrocarbons migrated to the surface and remained trapped in rocks, which acted as deposits where the oil accumulated. While all this was happening in the depths of the Earth, the evolution of microorganisms in the oceans led to the formation of more complex cells. Meanwhile, the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere reached higher levels and allowed the formation of an ozone layer, which protected the Earth against harmful cosmic radiations. This allowed the explosion of life on Earth, which was the origin of the biological carbon cycle where we live. Vegetables, thanks to photosynthesis, produce organic matter when they absorb CO2. Animals then oxidize those hydrocarbons in order to keep their energy level, and they produce CO2 again, which feeds the plants, thus closing the biological cycle, which has existed for millions of years. The arrival of modern man, and with him the Industrial Revolution, came hand in hand with the discovery of oil, a dense, storable and transportable fuel, which supported the demand for fuel of industrial development. Little by little, the CO2 emitted by the combustion of those fossil fuels destabilized the carbon biological cycle with all its consequences and collateral effects. That is to say, the greenhouse effect, the ocean acidification, the increase of the global humidity rate, the melting of the poles, etc. Starting from there, BFS's idea was to recreate a third carbon cycle, which allowed the first one to be closed and to re-establish the natural cycle. As time went by, the first two cycles stayed stable until the current era. During the Industrial Revolution, these cycles were destabilized because of the extraction and combustion of hydrocarbons. Nowadays, the third carbon cycle aims at readjusting surplus emissions. One, luminous energy. The sun is our main source of energy. 2. Capturing CO2 emissions. 3. Using exchangers and self-reproducers. 4. Recovering the organic mass obtained and applying a thermal cracking. 5. Releasing the oxygen, which will feed the carbon cycle. The technology developed consists of capturing CO2 anthropic emissions and accelerating its conversion into new oil or gas, using solar energy and some adapted exchangers, together with efficient catalyzers, which allows us to eliminate a ton of CO2 for each barrel produced.